What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to do another full house cleaning to test vacuum cleaning performance. This time I thought it would feature my Hoover Spirit, also known as the Hoover Elite. Just another variation of the Elite, somehow with the name stolen from a canister. I hadn't featured this in a full house cleaning yet, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that. So, as usual, with my tests, I run fresh new HEPA bags. And the brush roll and motor configuration has to be different than the last one, because for the most part, these Elites are mostly the same cleaner with some differences. And this one, I just recently threw in a used red bristle single row brush roll that I had laying around from a parts bin that initially I thought looked to be in bad shape, but the more I look at it, the more I thought it's not as bad as I thought. Yeah, the bristles may be like thin looking, but they're still pretty long. They stick out beyond the base plate. Maybe it's just a brush roll that's sit for many years in storage and needs to be used a bit more. So I threw it in this, and I also wanted to see how it would work with the 3-bar base plate, because usually a lot of these red bristle brush rolls usually come in the older Elite 350s or Elite 600s that have just the 1-bar base plate rather than the 3-bar that they would eventually come out with in late 91. So I just am trying to see how this behaves compared to like the white bristle single row that this normally would have came with. The bristles are not as stiff as the white bristle ones, but these are a little bit, if not a bit longer than the white bristle ones, some of the ones I've seen at least. So maybe this should differ a bit in cleaning performance, but we'll see how it all plays out once we get to the action. So let's get started. And this is another one of those vacuums where I got to plug into the middle of my room to get the entire first clip vacuuming in one take because of how short the cord is. But let's get started. Alright, now quick analyze of the carpet lines. Definitely grooms very good. Agitation is quite good for being a single row, not having as stiff of bristles as the original white bristle that it would have came with. But one thing I will say though, if anyone remembers back when I did the cleaning performance video on my blue soft bag Hoover runabout, it had the green bristle single row brush roll, and its performance wasn't nearly as good as one of basically these brush rolls with the red medium stiff bristles but very long. And usually you see these in like the Elite 350s and 600s with the 5 and 6 amp motor, but not in one of these. And so far my overall impressions of this are actually very good. So with that, let's go ahead and continue on. She's probably gonna scamper off here soon, but here's the final scene. Just as I thought. And just like that, full house cleaning is all complete. I will say with this red bristle single row brush roll, this performs almost about as good as the white single row brush roll with stiffer bristles that these normally would have came with at the time. But one thing I will say about these red bristle ones, at least most of the ones I've found, the bristles do seem to be very long. Longer than the white bristle ones. They're not as stiff, but they're longer. But we'll see how that differs in cleaning performance as we take a look at the results from that week's worth of dirt pickup with a 7-amp motor, which has its original 7-bladed fan. So, what do we get? Wow, look at that. Definitely a lot more towards the top and bottom, but you can definitely tell there's quite a mixture of pet hair and fine dust. And I believe you should never underestimate the power of one of these Elites with a single row brush roll. Now, admittedly, these are good results. I've seen the white bristle one perform nearly identical, so it's something to be expected. I do admit, I do think these red bristle, the white bristle stiffer. I haven't tried the blue bristle one that's in my blue hardbag Futura Elite, so one day I'll have to do that, but I imagine it performs about as similar. But if there's one brush roll I'm not a huge fan of, that's the green soft bristle single row. It just doesn't have the kind of cleaning performance that these stiffer bristle single rows do. They do work good, don't get me wrong, but they just don't agitate as aggressive as the stiffer bristle ones do. But with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this full house cleaning of the Hoover Spirit. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.